Hi foodies, welcome. Today I made some breakfast, some ackee and saltfish, fried dumpling and plantain. So I'm going to share that with you. I did my dumpling recipe again, but I just made a smaller batch. Let's get into it. First thing, we have to sift those dry ingredients. Remember in my other fried dumpling video, I told you that sifting the ingredients just gets more air into that dough, makes it nice and light. So that's what we're doing here. And then we will add some other ingredients. At this point, we're going to be adding tiny pieces of cold butter. This is going to help to tenderize the dough. It's going to help to add a little flakiness. So we're just going to rub everything between our fingers and continuously raise our hands to get some air in there. Just rub it into the flour until all the butter is in very tiny pieces. And then make a well in the center, and then we're going to add some cold water and just mix this. Knead your dough, and then we will let it rest. The reason I'm using cold water is that just prevents the butter from melting immediately, and it just helps with that nice soft dough that we want. So we just mix everything together. Don't overmix. Don't expect it to look extremely smooth and soft immediately, because we're gonna knead it together and then we are gonna let it rest. We're going to rest it in a bowl covered with a damp kitchen towel, and that's just going to keep it from drying out. And as it rests, the gluten relaxes and then the dough gets really nice and soft and easier to work with. So that's what we're going to do. I didn't wake up very early today, guys, so I'm not going to get this dough rested as much as I'd want it to. I prefer at least an hour, but it'll be okay. Now the saltfish, guys. I just rinse off the excess salt. Then I add it to some water in a pot, and then this will be brought to a boil. Once you boil this, guys, you just want to wait until it's easily flaked. Once it's easily flaked, just strain it off and flake it into tiny pieces. That's all you're going to do. All right? And then now we will heat some oil. I'm using some coconut oil. And then I add some garlic and some scotch bonnet. It's just to add a little flavor. This is optional. You don't have to do it. I don't do it every time. Okay? So you just add this to the oil, let it cook for a few seconds, and then we'll add the ingredients for our ackee and saltfish. Some people just like onions in their ackee and saltfish, so it's a matter of preference. Sometimes I like it really colorful with lots of vegetables. Sometimes it's just onions, sometimes it's just pepper. Do what you like, okay? As long as it tastes good, then you're good. So I add my bell peppers and onions, and then I'm going to go in with some tomato. Sometimes I don't even use tomato. You can do whatever you like just to make sure that you get those nice flavors in there, at least onion. All right. And then I add the flaked saltfish. If you want your saltfish to be very crispy, what you can do is fry it in the oil before you add the vegetables, and that definitely helps. Okay, I'm adding some more flavors in there. These are optional. I just like it like this sometimes. All right, and black pepper is something you should not leave out. Even if you leave out all those veggies, don't leave out the black pepper. If you want to, you can remove the garlic and the scotch bonnet that we use to get the flavor in the oil, or you can leave it in there if it doesn't bother you. And then we're going to be adding some cooked ackee. This is cooked, drained ackee. So what you're doing now is basically reheating it, and you're gonna add it here, stir things around gently or toss it, because sometimes the ackee can be so soft. It doesn't bother me if it gets a little crushed, but when it's too mushy, then it's not as enjoyable. So just be as gentle as you can, and then we will cover this up. After we add some more black pepper, cover it up and allow the ackee to absorb the flavors of the saltfish and the veggies over a very low heat. Very low. Okay? And then we'll go back to our dough. So guys, as I said to you, I didn't wake up early, so this didn't get to rest as long as I wanted it to. But it's still workable. It's still softer, as you can see. Okay? So we're just gonna form this into a longer shape to get those pieces off easily. So we're just gonna break off a piece, and then I'll show you how I roll it. If you've seen my other fried dumpling video, you already know how to do it, especially if it's your first time doing Jamaican fried dumplings, then you can take a look. All right. So all I'm doing is bringing the edges into the center, and you can fold them in or pinch them in. That's it. Fold them inside or pinch them, and then you will seal that part there by just pressing the center. You can do it like this. I'm just rolling it around. So you can kind of cup it and roll it in your palm, or you could even roll it on the counter. Just keep rolling it, and then once you get a shape that you're satisfied with, then I like to press or pinch the center. This just helps to seal off that part underneath, and it also helps the oil to penetrate the dumpling easier. All right, so I am using some oil that I used to deep fry something from before. So this is not new oil, but it's fine. Okay, it's clean oil. I just dropped a piece of dough and the bubbles are tiny, so I know the oil isn't too hot. So we are going to fry our dumplings. I start off with a lower heat, and then once it starts to float, then we will turn up the heat. All right, and no, it is not greasy at all. I prefer to deep fry. All right. And then the ripe plantains, guys, we're just gonna cut these up. If you're familiar with this, you already know how to peel a ripe plantain. Just cut off the tops, and then you can cut it in half to make it easier. Use your cutting board if that's what you're more comfortable with. We Caribbean people love to cut in our hands, but safety first. Okay, so use the cutting board if you prefer. Cut down those ribs, peel it off, and then use your cutting board if that's what you're comfortable with, and then we're just gonna slice it. You can turn it over on the flat side to make it safer and easier for you, and then slice it again. And these are just gonna be fried in the same oil that I did the dumplings in. So once I take the dumplings out, I will put the plantains in there. All right, so I turned up the heat, so I'm just gonna wait till these are nice and golden brown and beautiful. You see how light they are? They are not soggy, they are not dense, really nice and light and puffy. If you have a deep fryer, which you could, regulate the temperature, you can use your deep fryer as well. And then drain them on a wire rack, or you could put it on a napkin briefly, just briefly, okay? Here's the plantains, guys. I'm just gonna fry them until they're golden, and then you'll see some little dark bits on there, but not too dark. That's it. All right. So these are my fried dumplings. I'm just gonna open up one for you. These are really nice and soft. Look at that. The outside is nice and flaky. Then that's because of that butter that we used, right? And then the inside is light and puffy and soft. All right, if you've tried my other fried dumpling recipe, then you know how delicious these are. And that's my breakfast, guys. Very simple, very yummy. If you've never tried this Jamaican breakfast before, definitely give it a try. It is absolutely tasty, guys. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you in my next video. Take care.